I headed straight for my base in high spirits, forgetting all about fez and swords and whatever else, and practically skipping the entire way home. When I was about 50 meters away, I encountered two men who carried an unmistakably abnormal air about them. I attempted to pass by them without making eye contact, but they were very clearly watching me.
そこの君、ちょっといいかい？
You over there? We have a moment. The first of the two to call out to me was a dull older man, one that looked like he belonged at a cycling racetrack, gambling his life away. His hair was a mess, and his unshaved beard was somehow worse. He wore a worn-out old suit, sloppily tied necktie, and dress shoes that didn't show a trace of being cared for. All of it came together to form an unparalleled example of a man who'd failed to get ahead in life. For some reason, the fact that he was flapping a fan at himself only served to further emphasize how pathetic he looked. His expression was similarly languid, his mouth curled in a flippant smile. And yet, when our eyes met for a split second, I knew then that he wasn't really smiling. There was nowhere to run. As I searched for something to reply to them with, the two men made their way up to me.
おじさん、こういうものなんだけどさ。
In case you're wondering who we are, the older man took out a black badge from his suit and held it out toward me. It was the same kind of police badge you'd see in various TV shows, but it was obviously the first time I'd ever seen a real one. They finally come for me. They could only be here for one thing, the crucifixion case.
ちょっと話を聞かせてもらっていいかい？
Mind if we ask you a couple of questions?
もちろん強制じゃないんだけどね。あ、そんな身構えなくていいよ。本当話聞くだけだから。
We won't force you, of course. Oh, no, no, don't worry. You can take it easy. We're not after you or anything. We just want to hear your take on things, honest. The way he spoke didn't show a trace of trying to intimidate me. The other younger detective, however, wore a strict expression as he nonchalantly moved to block my path. Sweat started running down my neck. If I made any wrong moves, they'd likely suspect me of being the culprit and haul me down to the station right then and there. I didn't want that to happen. I resigned myself, then gave a small nod.
君さ、俗に言うニュージェネレーションの狂気って知ってるかな？
Let's see. Have you heard about what's commonly referred to as the New Generation Madness? I knew it. I wiped the beads of sweat off my forehead, then gave him a nod in reply.
じゃあ3番目に起きた通称貼り付け殺人事件も当然知ってるよね。この近所で起きたわけなんだけども。
Then you would also know about the third case, aka the crucifixion case, correct? It did happen right in this neighborhood after all.
その目撃者を探してるわけよ。
We've been looking for witnesses.
あ、ちなみに君、名前聞かせてくれる？
Oh, and while we're at it, could you tell me your name? A gulp forced itself down my throat. This wasn't some bait and switch shit, was it? Or maybe they were a bunch of con men who were only acting like policemen, while in reality they were just mining my personal information so they could put it to ill use. They could even be the demon girl's underlings.
あれ、答えてくんないのかな？
You still there? Did we lose you? If they started to suspect me, there'd be no end to it. What should I do? If I gave them a fake name, they might arrest me immediately.
ああ、個人情報保護法とか気にしてる？おじさんそんなに信用なさそうに見えるかな？
Oh, are you worried about protecting your personal info? Ouch. Do I really look that untrustworthy? I'll say. Either way, his friendly way of speaking had to be just an act.
西条匠
In the end, I figured there was no way around it, that it was in my best interest to answer honestly.
うん。西条匠くんでいいかい？
Nishijo Takumi-kun. Mind if I call you that? I shook my head.
本当に？
You sure about that? Huh? What's that supposed to mean? I'd purposely given him my real name, so what the hell was that reaction?
いや、これは失礼。今のは気にしないでくれ。
Sorry, I'm just yanking your chain a skosh. Don't worry about it. The detective's unnatural laughter rang throughout the quiet residential area. Ugh, just hurry up and let me go already.
その制服、水明だよね。何年生？
That uniform of yours. It's from Suime, ain't it? What year are you? Do I have to answer stuff like that?
に
Second.
悪いね。聞き取れなかった。おじさん、もう年だから耳遠くてさ。もう一度言ってくれる？
Hmm? Sorry, I didn't catch that. I'm at that age where your ears start to go. Could you run that by me one more time?
2年生
I'm a second year.
ああ、2年生ね。どうも。
Second year. Got it.
で、西条さん。聞きたいことってのは、先月の29日の午後6時から10時頃にかけて、どこで何してたかなんだわ。
Alright then, Nishijo-san. As for what we wanted to ask you, where were you on the 29th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.? Were they asking me for my alibi? Did that mean they suspected me? That's ridiculous.
いや、別に君を疑ってるわけじゃなくてさ。その時間にこの近くにいたなら、怪しい人物を見かけたとか、何か音を聞いたとか、ないかと思ってね。
Oh, it's not like we suspect you or anything. Just thought that if you were in the neighborhood, you might have seen someone suspicious or heard something. That's all. For some reason, the way the guy talked was really starting to get to me. Maybe talking in a way that deliberately agitated the subject was some kind of interrogation technique. Of course, I had seen someone suspicious. I'd seen someone very clearly, and with my own two eyes. But I wasn't sure if it would be a good idea to tell that to this shady old guy. What would I do if I told him and then the demon girl came back for revenge? Seemed like the demon girl was letting me run free for now, but she still had Shogun on her side, and he was equipped with precognitive powers, so by that logic, that must have meant that the demon girl had some sort of insane power as well. And if that was true, and I told the police about it, she might find out about it immediately because of her clairvoyance or whatever, and then she'd come to kill me right after.
なあ、西条くん。今日はそんなに暑いか？
Hey, Nishijo-kun, surely it isn't that hot out today, is it? My heart rate skyrocketed. If I stayed silent like this, they would absolutely suspect me of being the criminal. But at the same time, I was scared that if I lied and said I didn't see anything, they'd see right through me. The older man fanned me a couple of times with his fan. A cool breeze rustled my hair.
もうすっかり秋だ。汗かくほど暑いとは思えんけどな。まあ、体質ってのは人それぞれだしな。
We're pretty deep into fall after all, so I can't say I feel it's hot enough outside to be sweating. Well, no one's built quite the same as anyone else, I suppose. Ironic, considering he was the one walking around with a fan. But he was right. It wasn't all that hot out today. It was perfect, actually. The kind of temperature you'd actually enjoy spending time in. I'd wiped the sweat off my forehead with the sleeve countless times.
僕はやってない
I didn't do it.
おお。
Oh. The look in his eyes shifted. I realized that I'd slipped up, but I had no idea what exactly had tipped him off.
何をやっていないんだ？
What didn't you do? They definitely suspected me. I had to answer honestly. Staring at the manhole cover right beneath my feet, I began to blurt out everything.
見たんです。
I saw something
貼り付けの現場、そこに女がいたんです。
at the crucifixion crime scene. There was a girl.
で、血まみれにして死体の前に
She was standing in front of the body, and her hands were covered in blood.
杭がたくさん死体に突き刺さってて、あれ500本は絶対超えてた。異常だ。
There were tons of stakes stabbed into the corpse. There had to be over 500 of them. It was so messed up.
死体がハリネズミみたいになってて、
The body, it looked almost like a hedgehog.
女は僕を見てよかったって笑ってた。
The girl, she looked at me and said, "Thank goodness." And then she smiled at me.
あの女は悪魔だ。人間じゃない。
That girl, she's not human. She's a demon.
ニュージェネの母親には人を超えた存在なんだ。
She's the culprit behind New Gen. She's a being that transcends humanity.
ヨシとかすごい超能力とか使う。
She has precognition and strong ESP and... Upon saying that much, I realized the two detectives were staring at me with their eyes wide. Maybe they didn't believe me. Thinking that, I clamped my mouth shut.
悪魔か。なるほどね。そいつは参考になったよ。
Demon, huh? I see, I see. That's very helpful.
本当です。
I'm telling the truth.
ああ、わかってるわかってる。貴重な情報だよ。
Mm-hmm, I know. I never doubted that. You've given us some valuable information.
僕を警察で守ってください。
Please, get the police to protect me.
その前に、その女の年はわかる。服装とか、顔の特徴とか。
Before we do all that, do you know how old the girl was? Her clothes, her facial features, stuff like that'll also do.
水明。
Suime uniform.
水明って、水明学園
Suime... You mean Suime Academy?
その制服着てた。
It was wearing Suime uniform.
つまり、西条くんと同じ学校の生徒か。
In other words, she goes to the same high school as you, Nishijo-kun. After simmering on that for a moment, the old man grinned. He then muttered something that could be either an actual question or him just mumbling to himself.
何年生だろうな、その女子高生は。
What year is she in, I wonder?
何年生だと思う西条くん。
What do you think, Nishijo-kun?
わからない。
I don't know.
じゃあ、なんて名前だと思う
Alright, then what's her name?
わからないよ。僕はあの悪魔の名前なんて知らない。
I don't know that either. I don't know that demon's name.
その女の身長、体重、あとついでに3サイズについては。
What about her height and weight? Oh, and while you're at it, her measurements. What was up with this old man? Was he screwing with me? How was I supposed to even know a single one of these? Did he think I could instantly get all those measurements from a single glance? Oh, yeah, sure. I absolutely had such a stupid power. Oh wait, no I didn't, because this wasn't a goddamn rom-com manga.
なるほど。黙ってるってことは、わからないってことだね。結構。参考になったよ。
Oh, you clamming up over there is telling me you don't know. No big deal. You've been a big help today.
これは本部に戻って検討しないといかんな。
I've got to head back to HQ and consider all this carefully.
先輩、マジっすか?
Sir, are you serious? Waving his hand to silence the dumbfounded younger detective, the older man signaled something to him with his eyes.
西条くん、ちなみに連絡先とか教えてもらえる
Oh, before I forget, Nishijo-kun, could you tell us how to get a hold of you?
なんで
Huh? Why? I knew they wouldn't believe me. They wanted to label me as some nut job and falsely accuse me of everything.
ああ、だって悪魔だっけそいつから君を守らなくちゃならないだろ
Well, you said there was a demon, didn't you? We've got to protect you from it somehow, no? Oh, so that was why he'd asked. Oh, thank God. They actually believed me. If I could get the police to protect me, it would be incredibly reassuring. Yes, the enemy was a demon, so the police would only get one shot if they went up against her, but it was better than being unarmed. Feeling slightly relieved, I took out the phone I had bought a few days prior and showed him my phone number. The younger detective scribbled it down in his notebook.
いや、忙しいところありがとうさ。君の身の安全は警察が保証するから、何の心配もしなさんな。
Well then, time for us to jet. Thanks for your time. We'll keep you safe, so don't you worry.
じゃあ、また何か聞きたいことができたら電話するかもしんないんで、その時はよろしくね。
Alrighty, if we have any more questions, we'll give you a ring, so keep your ears peeled.
イルスとか使わないでくれよ。今のところ警察にとっては君は重要な人物だからな。
Make sure not to pretend like you're not there or something, you hear me? As of now, you're an invaluable asset to the police.
え
Huh?
君の目撃証言は事件解決の重要な手がかりになりそうだ。
Your eyewitness testimony could be exactly what we need to blow this case wide open.
じゃあな。
Have a good one. The two detectives bowed their head and promptly took off. After taking a glance at me over his shoulder, the younger detective whispered something to the older one. The older man paid him no mind and simply continued to walk. I let out a long, long sigh. That was intense. It was the first time I'd ever been questioned by actual detectives. I'd acted pretty suspicious without meaning to, but they'd believe me anyway. Somehow. God, I'd give anything for the police to arrest the demon girl. Then again, the police didn't have any special powers, so maybe I should keep my expectations low. I then noticed that my mouth had gone incredibly dry without me realizing, so I redirected myself to the nearest vending machine and got myself a cola.
うわ覚醒バージョン残すエロすぎ万物じゃんかだがそれがいい
Holy shit. Costume on the post-awakening version is way too erotic. Her panties are completely visible. But that's what's good about this.
顔かわいいよ顔原作再現度はいまいちだけどプンプンと漂うエロスが木島よしおらしさだよなこれはこれでグッジョブ
Sarah. Face is so cute, Sarah. The attempt to match the anime is somewhat lacking, but her face has that distinct eroticism to it that permeates through all of Kijima Yoshio's works, which more than makes up for it. One of your best works, Kijima-san. Good job, my lord.
上着キャストオフとかこの角度からじゃほとんど全裸にしか見えんひょ
Her jacket is removable too. From this angle, she almost looks completely naked. Holy shit.
髪の動きがいいよな覚醒バージョンは髪が命って持論があるわけだが間違ってなかったな
The way the hair flows looks so fucking good. I had a theory that the hair would be what truly sells the post-awakening version, and I definitely wasn't wrong there.
さてそれではお待ちかねパンツいってみようかどれどれ
Jesus Christ. Alrighty then, the part we've all been waiting for. Let's take a look at the panties. Let's see.
これセーラタン5作目にして早くも最高傑作爆誕じゃねえこれ以上すごいのなんて出せないってマジでやっぱ木島は神
This is only the 5th model, yet they've managed to put out a masterpiece this quickly? Seriously, how do they expect to top this? Kijima is an actual god. Carefully stood my new Seraton next to my monitor. Ooh-hee-hee, Sera. You're so sexy, Sera. Simply looking over at her made me grin uncontrollably. Life was good. I logged on and immediately started posting my impressions of my new Seraton figure on @channel. When I finished doing that, I went to check my email, then checked to see if any of my friends on Freypara had posted any updates.
おっとマイフレ申請来てるじゃん
Oh, I've got a friend request.
誰これ？
Who's this?
セーラコミュの人か。
Probably someone from the Sera fandom.
はいはい。ゲイですよ。
Sure, accept. Now then, time for ESO. But the very second I thought that, I felt chills down the nape of my neck. It was the gaze, complete with its usual intense presence. Whose eyes are those eyes? Start with a good delusion? Damn it, this was not the time. When did I first started feeling the gaze? I'd long since forgotten. It slithered its way into each and every part of my life, bothering the shit out of me all the way. There were a lot of things that disturbed my peace, but the gaze was right up there with Nanami as the most irritating thing I had to deal with. Fine then, let's do it. The it'll take more than that to make me turn around game. Still fixated on my monitor, I tried to think of some cool lines you'd hear in a manga.
貴様。出てこい。
Come on out, you piece of shit.
僕の目をごまかせるとでも思ったか。甘いな。
You think you could pull the wool over my eyes? How incredibly naive. Ah, you found me out.
当たり前だ。僕の後ろに立つなと何度言えば。
Of course I have. How many times have I told you not to stand behind... Huh? Was that a woman's voice just now? Goosebumps stood all over my body. Had the reclusive owner of the gaze finally decided to show themselves? Was that even possible? Should I turn around and see who it was? Well, what if she attacked me the moment I did? It was a fairly cute-sounding voice, but what if, in reality, a monster far removed from anything human was standing there? No. If that were the case, wouldn't that mean they were getting ready to attack me right now? If I didn't turn around now, I wouldn't even notice if they killed me. Maybe I should say something else to see if they'd respond. It was possible that the voice I'd heard was just a hallucination or a delusion or something, so that'd help confirm it. I mean, I talk to my Seiraton figure all the time in my head. Had to be the same thing. I tried to be bold and ask, "Who are you?" but I hesitated. If I was to provoke the attacker, it could have very easily spelled the end for me. It could have caused her to finally stop waiting and attack me. So many delusions ran through my head that I found myself completely paralyzed. What should I do? Maybe the whole thing was a product of my own design, and I was just being the world's biggest dumbass. I swear, if the owner of the gaze wasn't here, and I'd just been sitting here trembling in fear over nothing, I was gonna ki-
あれタク固まってる
Huh? Taku? Why are you so tense? Oh god, it really wasn't a hallucination or a delusion. There was someone right behind me. Startled, I reflexively turned around.
どうもどうも
Hiya! The demon girl. The girl sitting on the sofa was undeniably the same one I had seen at the crucifixion crime scene. And now, for some reason, I couldn't comprehend, she was just standing there, looking at me, smiling. Oh fuck. Oh fuck, oh fuck. You'd finally come to kill me. It had to be because of the detectives I'd talked to. You'd seen me do it with her clairvoyance. After that, she'd infiltrated my base without making a sound, took up a position in which she could kill me at any moment, and now she was reveling in my fear as I cried and screamed in terror. Couldn't be anything else. Don't kill me. I tried to scream, but I was too terrified to make a sound.
コケコッコ
A dose didgeridoo? Tilting her neck to the side, the demon girl unleashed a strange incantation. It had to be some demonic tongue. She was cursing me. In hopes of gaining as much distance as possible from her, I went to hide underneath my desk. Problem was, I was so shaken that I ended up bashing my head onto the edge of it, rendering me unable to move as I writhed in pain.
何やってるのタク？
What are you doing, Taku?
今すっごい音したよ。コツンって。
That was a crazy loud sound you just made. Bonk. Even now, the demon girl was keeping up her amused smile. But it had to be a trap, one built to lull me into a false sense of security. The second I let my guard down, she'd swoop in and end me. Or maybe she already had with that curse she'd placed on me a moment ago. In a few days, my entire body would suddenly start spewing blood everywhere, and I'd die right then and there.
頼むよ。
I beg you,
殺さないで。
don't kill me. I got down on my hands and knees, cradling my head between my arms. Those goddamn detectives had completely fucked me over.
警察に喋ったこと謝るから。
I'm sorry I talked to the police, so please.
警察？
Huh?
それに話してもちっとも信じてもらえてなかったし。
And even when I told them everything, they didn't believe a word I said. It was a lie meant to buy me some time. The older detective had said he'd guarantee my safety. If he was doing his job properly, he'd had to have sent at least one officer over to my place. Upon thinking that, I suddenly realized I'd given the old man my phone number, but I hadn't given him my address. To the negative delusion this time. Damn it, this was not the time. When had I first started feeling the gaze? I'd long since forgotten. It slithered its way into each and every part of my life, bothering the shit out of me all the way. There were a lot of things that disturbed my peace, but the gaze was right up there with Nanami as the most irritating thing I had to deal with. Fine then, let's do it. It'll take more than that to make me turn around, game. Still fixated on my monitor, I tried to think of some cool lines you'd hear in a manga.
貴様、出てこい。
Come on out, you piece of shit.
僕の目をごまかせるとでも思ったか。甘いな。
Did you think you could pull the wool over my eyes? How incredibly naive.
バレちゃった。
Ah, you found me out.
当たり前だ。僕の後ろに立つなと何度言えば。
Of course I have. How many times have I told you not to stand behind... Huh? Was that a woman's voice just now? Goosebumps stood all over my body. Had the reclusive owner of the gaze finally decided to show themselves? Was that even possible? Did I turn around and see who it was? But what if she attacked me the moment I did? It was a fairly cute-sounding voice, but what if, in reality, a monster far removed from anything human was standing there? No. If that were the case, wouldn't that mean they were getting ready to attack me right now? If I didn't turn around now, I wouldn't even notice if they killed me. Maybe I should say something else to see if they'd respond. It was possible that the voice I'd heard was just a hallucination or a delusion or something, so that'd help confirm it. And I mean, I talk to my Seireton figure all the time in my head. It had to be the same thing. What? I try to be bold and say, "Who are you?" but I hesitated. If I was to provoke the attacker, it could have very easily spelled the end for me. It could have caused her to finally stop waiting and attack me. So many delusions ran through my head that I found myself completely paralyzed. What should I do? Maybe the whole thing was a product of my own design and I was just being the world's biggest dumbass. I swear, if the owner of the gaze wasn't here and I'd just been sitting here trembling in fear over nothing, I was gonna...
あれ、タク？固まってる？
Huh? Taku, why are you so tense? It wasn't a hallucination or delusion after all. There was someone right behind me. Startled, I reflexively turned around. Hi, the demon girl. The girl sitting on the sofa was undeniably the same one I had seen at the crucifixion crime scene. And now, for some reason I couldn't comprehend, she was just standing there, looking at me, smiling. Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. She'd finally come to kill me. It had to be because of the detectives I'd talked to. She'd seen me do it with her clairvoyance. After that, she'd gone on to infiltrate my base without making a sound, take up a position in which she could kill me at any moment, and then revel in it as I cried and screamed in terror. It couldn't be anything else. Don't kill me, I tried to scream, but I was too terrified to make a sound.
コンビーフ
So? A deer? Tilting her neck to the side, the demon girl unleashed a strange incantation. It had to be some demonic tongue. She was cursing me. In hopes of gaining as much distance as possible from her, I went to hide underneath my desk. Problem was, I was so shaken that I ended up bashing my head into the edge of it, rendering me unable to move as I writhed in pain.
何やってるのタク
Poof. What are you doing, Taku?
今すっごい音したよコツンって
That was a crazy loud sound you just made. Bonk. Even now, the demon girl was keeping up her amusing smile. But it had to be a trap, one built to lull me into a false sense of security. The second I let my guard down, she'd swoop in and end me. Or maybe she already had with that curse she placed on me a minute ago. In a few days, my entire body would suddenly start spewing blood everywhere, and I'd die right then and there.
頼むよ
I beg you,
殺さないで
don't kill me. I got down on my hands and knees, cradling my head between my arms. Those goddamn detectives had completely fucked me over.
警察に喋ったこと謝るから
I'm so sorry I talked to the police, so please.
警察
The police?
それに話してもちっとも信じてもらえてなかったし
And even when I told them everything, they didn't believe a word I said. It was a lie meant to buy me some time. The older detective had said he'd guarantee my safety. If he was doing his job properly, he had to have sent at least one officer over to my place. On thinking that, I suddenly realized I'd given the old man my phone number, but I hadn't given him my address. Alright, we'll do No Delusion this time. Damn it, this was not the time. When had I first started feeling the gaze? Long since forgotten. It slithered its way into each and every part of my life, bothering the shit out of me all the way. There were a lot of things that disturbed my peace, but the gaze was right up there with Nanami as the most irritating thing I had to deal with. Fine then, let's do it. But it'll take more than that to make me turn around game. Still fixated on my monitor, I tried to think of some cool lines you'd hear in a manga.
貴様出てこい
Come on out, you piece of shit.
僕の目をごまかせるとでも思ったか甘いな
Did you think you could pull the wool over my eyes? How incredibly naive. There was no response. But why would there be? Hell, I'd be much more terrified if there had been.
え
Huh? Heard something. Upon hearing it, I immediately whipped around. I'd lost today's no turning around game. There was no one else in the room. Was it just a hallucination? Please be a hallucination. From the bottom of my heart, that was all I hoped for. It came again. It was the sound again. Couldn't weasel my way out of this. It was the sound of someone knocking on my door from the outside. In other words, someone was here. Practically no human beings ever came to visit me. Even newspaper salesmen wouldn't bother getting up on the roof. All I could think of was a delivery guy? No, I wasn't supposed to be getting any packages today. Nanami? No, Nanami would be so much more obnoxious. She'd be banging on the door, screaming, "Big bro, open up," making my eardrums bleed. Yua? Chances of that were high. She'd been to my base once before. Had the demon girl ordered her to come and kill me? But if that were true, why would she bother knocking? The knocking sound continued. I was completely frozen in place, trying to figure out what to do, but I couldn't come up with a single idea that quickly. I started freaking out more and more. Wait, I could just pretend like I wasn't home. Or was that being too cautious? No, there was no such thing right now. Shibuya had gotten incredibly dangerous recently, after all. If it was Yua, there was absolutely no way I could let her in. If I did, it'd be pretty much asking to get killed. On a related note, was my door locked? I stared in the direction of the door, but thanks to the darkness, I couldn't see very well. I slowly got up and tiptoed toward the door, being careful not to make a sound. When I reached the center of the room, I finally knew for sure. The door wasn't locked. Chills assaulted my entire body. My heartbeat increased rapidly, and my anxiety shot up along with it. I'd forgotten to lock my goddamn door. If someone just waltzed right on in right now and stabbed me in the back, I would have no right to complain. I had to lock it, fast. If I made a sound, they'd immediately find out that I was just pretending not to be home, but that was far better than letting them get inside. I was about to bolt toward the door when I accidentally stepped on an empty boxed lunch that had fallen on the floor. I slipped to an almost comical degree and landed hard on my ass. The extreme pain made me moan in silent agony. And then, right before my eyes, the door slowly began to open. I didn't know who it was, but whoever had been knocking was now opening the door of their own accord. I tried to get up, but the pain kept my body from listening to me. All I could do was stare with teary eyes as the door opened. The first thing I saw was a hand. The sleeve on it was clearly from a Suime Academy uniform. Next I saw hair, a little longer than Nanami's, but shorter than Yua's. I didn't know who it was. The hair stirred, and the last thing I saw was a face suddenly peeking into the room.
こんにちは。
Hello? That was when I finally realized who it was. A person I never would have expected. The worst possible plot twist. Feelings of intense despair threatened to steal every bit of hope away from me. The demon girl. I'd thought it'd be Yua. I never would have thought the demon girl herself would come marching in.
いたいた。
Oh good, you're here. Our eyes met, and right as they did, the demon girl smiled with glee. Her smile sent chills down my spine.
もう、どうしてすぐ返事してくれないの？
Geez, I was out there forever. Why'd it take you so long to answer? Fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Her hand hidden by the door had to be gripping one of those cross-shaped stakes. It had to be. She'd finally come to kill me. She was gonna kill me as she laughed and laughed in pure ecstasy. It had to be because of the detectives I talked to. She'd seen me do it with her clairvoyance. Don't kill me, I wanted to scream, but I was too terrified to make a sound.
コロッケ？
You had a really doughy donut? Tilting her neck to the side, the demon girl unleashed a strange incantation. It had to be some demonic tongue. She was cursing me. In hopes of gaining as much distance as possible from her, I frantically started crawling backwards on my ass. My hands slipped countless times on random garbage scattered across the floor as I scrambled for the furthest thing away from her, my computer desk.
ねえ、入っていいかな？っ
Hey, can I come in?
ていうか、入っちゃいます。
Well, I guess I already kinda did, huh? The demon girl began encroaching further upon my territory. She even politely took off her shoes.
お邪魔しちゃった。
Hope I'm not bugging you.
散らかってても私平気だから気にしないでね。
Oh, and I don't mind it being a little messy, so don't worry about it. The door closed. My escape route had been cut off. However, despite what I thought earlier, the demon girl was only carrying a bag. I didn't see anything resembling a deadly weapon. Wait, that just meant it was inside her bag. It had to be. I had to be extremely careful. The second I let my guard down, she'd swoop in and end me. Or maybe she already had with that curse she'd placed on me a minute ago. In a few days, my entire body would suddenly start spewing blood everywhere and I'd die right then and there.
頼むよ。
I beg you,
殺さないで。
don't kill me. I got down on my hands and knees, cradling my head between my arms. Those goddamn detectives had completely fucked me over.
警察に喋ったこと謝るから。
I'm sorry I talked to the police, so please.
警察？
Police?
それに話してもちっとも信じてもらえてなかったし。
And even when I told them everything, they didn't believe a word I said. It was a lie meant to buy me some time. The older detective had said he'd guarantee my safety. If he was doing his job properly, he had to have sent at least one officer over to my place. Upon thinking that, I suddenly realized I'd given the old man my phone number, but I hadn't given him my address.
ビシ
Bishi? Suddenly, the demon girl assumed a pose resembling a salute. And what was just as, if not more strange, was what she'd said. It was almost like a sound effect. Was it another demonic curse?
独り言はやめるべし。
You're gonna stop talking like that right now.
殺さないでとか警察がどうとか私には何のことかさっぱりだよ。
Stuff like, ah, don't kill me, the police, or any other weird stuff like that. I've got no clue what any of it means. What? Was she trying to play dumb? Or was this her roundabout way of threatening me? And in actuality, she was saying, forget the truth, act as if nothing ever happened. What the hell was she thinking? Hadn't she come here to kill me?
ほら立てる？立とう。
Come on, can you stand? Here, let me help you up. The demon girl got up from the couch and reached her hand out to me. Her expression was so gentle, and now that I was seeing her up close, she was actually pretty cute. Damn it, I was letting her get to me. Stop acting like a goddamn idiot. Was I seriously calling a demon pretty cute? She was a murderer. She'd used Yua and Shogun to trap me, and now she'd come to finish me off herself. Don't trust her. I'd already learned my lesson back with Yua. I'd never make the same mistake again. I refused to take her hand. Don't be deceived by this demon girl's smile. It was a demon trying to tempt me. If I gave in to that temptation, I'd die. Trust no one. Don't believe anything. Don't believe anything anyone says.
だって見たんだ。
But I saw...
お前が人を殺してるとこ。
I saw you kill someone.
あのさタク、それかなりひどいこと言ってるって気づいてる？
Taku, don't you realize that's a pretty mean thing to say?
まさか殺人犯呼ばわりされるなんてね。ははは。
Can't say I ever thought I'd get called a murderer. What was she gonna do with me?
ニュージェネの
Aren't you gonna kill me? It's like with the guy in the fourth case? Was she gonna...
殺すんでしょ。
Or Nugin?
それとも岩とか将軍とかがいる場所に連れてって。
Or are you gonna take me to where Yua and Shogun?
ユア？将軍？誰それ？
Yua? Shogun? Who are those guys? Maybe the three of them had decided to work together. That way I wouldn't be able to fight back when they beat me to death.
そんなのやだ。
No, please, anything but that.
助けて。
Help me.
じゃあね、私を殺人犯扱いしなければ助けてあげる。
Okay. I promise I'll help you as long as you stop treating me like a murderer. So that was your true goal.
そんなビビらないでよ。 いちいち私がへこむようなリアクションしてくれるよね。
Oh, come on, don't freak out like that. You react like this to every other thing I say, and it always bums me out.
お願いだ。もう二度と誰にも喋らないから。だから見逃して。
Please, I won't tell a single soul about you again, so please let me go.
もしもーし、タク、ちょっと落ち着こう。
Hello? Taku? Could you calm down a little? This bitch, acting like we were close or something, calling me Taku and shit. Wait, actually, how did she know my name? She'd already known it back when we'd first met at the crucifixion crime scene. How? How did she know it? And also, how would she know where my base was?
当然でしょ。
I mean, why wouldn't I? It only makes sense.
あなたの名前を知ってるのは。
Why, I know your name, I mean. Had she just read my mind? I knew she was a clairvoyant. She knew my name, my address, all because she'd used her powers on me.
タクって結構独り言多いよね。
You sure do talk to yourself a lot, Taku.
前から思ってたことだけど。
Then again, you've pretty much always done that. Always? How long was she talking? Wait, had I been talking to myself out loud just now? I hadn't been aware of it at all. Was that really true? Had I really been talking to myself out loud? Or was it possible that she was just lying to me? In actuality, she'd read my mind.
タクの名前を知らないわけないよ。私、物覚えはそんなに良くない方だけど。
Why wouldn't I remember your name, Taku? I mean, I know I'm not great at remembering stuff, but
友達の名前くらい覚えるよ。
I always remember the names of my friends. Friends?
それともタク、私のことバカにしてる？そりゃ私、テストの点数はそんなに良くないけど。
Also, Taku, are you making fun of me? Sure, my test scores aren't that high, but
面と向かってそういうこと言われると傷ついちゃうな。
it kinda hurts when you say that sort of thing to my face, you know. Was someone here crazy? But who was it? Me? Her?
もしかして転校生。
Could you be a transfer student?
そういえば近いうちに転校生が来るらしいよ。ツカチン先生が言ってた。
Oh yeah, now that you mention it, there's apparently a transfer student moving into our class soon. Mr. Tsukachin said something about that. There were two different conversations going on here. My terror from earlier, together with the anxiety of having no idea when I'd get killed, was starting to fade. But rushing in to replace it was a completely new kind of dread, slithering in to slowly erode my mind.
もしもし？
Hello?
その顔はまさかまだ信じてくれてない？
Judging by your face, I'm guessing you still don't believe me?
誰だ？
Who are you? Who was she? A murderer? A demon girl? That was who.
タクこそクラスメートの顔を覚えてないんだ。ひどー。
Wow, you can't even remember what your own classmate looks like? I can't believe you. Did she say classmate? So we weren't just friends, but classmates too?
でもまあしょうがないか。タクはあんまり学校来ないもんね。
Well, I guess I can't bug you too much about it. You don't come to school very often after all.
だからって私の存在丸ごとなかったことにするのはどうかと思う。
However, that doesn't mean you can just totally forget I exist.
私の名前本当に忘れちゃった？
You really forgotten my name?
そんなことないよね。知ってるでしょ？
Come on, there's no way. You have to know it.
あなたは
I know.
知ってるはず。
You know. Me.
そう正解。賞金50円プレゼント。
That's right. Right on the money. 50 yen to you, contestant.
え？
What?
私、崎畑りみです。
Yep. Sakihata Rimi, reporting for duty.
なんだ、やっぱり覚えててくれたんだね。
Wow, you really do remember me.
よかったよかった。
Glad to hear it. How? Was it true? Was the demon girl's name really Rimi? Why had that name suddenly popped into my head just now? Why did I know this girl's name? Maybe she really was my classmate and friend and I'd just forgotten. No, there was no way. I'd never even heard the name Sakihita Rimi. It had to be a fake name. It had to be that when I'd said Rimi, she just decided that'd be her name right then and there. It was like one of those spam emails from a Nigerian prince that used your personal info. Besides, other than Yua, I'd never met a 3D girl who talked to me like we were this close in my life. And Yua was the demon girl's underling. Wait, that was it. What the girl calling herself Sakihata was doing right now was exactly the same thing that you had done. This temptress knew I wasn't used to interacting with 3D girls, so she was attempting to lead me into a trap by behaving all friendly and trying to seduce me. It was the same exact strategy. And the thing is, while I barely remembered my classmates' faces at all, and I didn't plan to either, I could say with absolute certainty that I'd never seen this girl's face in the same classroom as me before. Probably. Damn it, I couldn't completely rule it out. After all, whenever I was at school, I was usually glued to my desk until the final bell, pretending to sleep, having delusions, staring at my desk, or feigning reading my textbooks. I didn't do anything else. I had next to no memory of my classmates' names and faces, so I didn't even try to remember any. Which was it? Was she telling the truth, or was it all a lie? No, it didn't matter whether or not we were classmates, because the one thing I knew for sure, the one hard, indisputable fact, was that she had committed murder.
もしかして本気で思い出せないの？さっき頭打ったせいで記憶喪失になっちゃった？
Are you really having trouble remembering me? Did you get amnesia when you hit your head a little bit ago? The demon girl reached for my head. I retreated back under the desk to try and avoid her.
たく変だよ。
Taku, you're being weird.
じゃあ大地に聞いてみて。
I know. How about you ask Daichin?
そしたらたくも思い出せるかも。
If you do, maybe you'll remember then. Daichin? What the hell was that? Was that a person? Or some sort of secret code? Another demonic incantation?
大地だよ大地。三角大輔。
Come on, Daichin! Daichin! Misumi Daisuke! Huh? She knew Misumi-kun's name? Not only that, but she was calling him Daichin? Wouldn't call him that unless they were really close.
ちょっと待ってね。
Okay, just a sec. The demon girl reached for a bag on the sofa, a bag that wasn't mine, and took out a cell phone.
大地はと。
Let's see, Daichin, Daichin. You should be...
よし、オッケー。
Alright, got him.
はい。
Here you go. After a bit of fiddling with the phone, she held it out to me. When I made no motion to take it, the demon girl forced a smile and quickly grabbed my hand.
ほら、固まってないで。
Oh, come on, loosen up. She forced me to hold the cell phone. The demon girl's hand was soft and just a little bit cold. I'd expected it to be a lot colder, almost like ice, but it wasn't nearly that bad. Guess even murderers had blood flowing through their veins. Because her hand was unexpectedly feminine, my heart started to thump. No, don't fall for it. She's a demon. I'll never let her seduce me. I'm not into 3D. Lend me your power, Seraton.
たく、携帯使ったことないの？電話機は耳に当てるんだよ。
Taku, have you not used a cell phone before? You're supposed to put it up to your ear. Tilting her head, the demon girl peered at my face from point-blank range. With her hand still grabbing mine, she brought the phone up to my ear. But before she did, I quickly looked at the screen. The registered name, Daichin, was displayed, and it looked like it was already calling them. With no escape, I pressed the receiver up against my ear. I heard the sound of the phone ringing. Eventually, that sound stopped, and in its place,
その目誰の
whose eyes are those eyes? Were they saying that to me, or to the demon girl? Why had they said that? The person on the other end remained silent. They didn't say who they were. Sounded like they were downtown or something, as I could hear a bunch of noise coming through the receiver. I was so confused, my voice wouldn't come out. Had no idea what to say.
なんてな今この言葉流行ってるらしいぜ
Or so it goes. Did I use it right? I know that phrase is pretty popular nowadays. Haha. Misumi-kun, or at least that's who I thought it was, quickly reverted to his normal tone.
んで何の用だよ
Okay, so what's up?
リミ
Rimi? Rimi. Sakihata Rimi. Misumi-kun knew her? Well, it wasn't like that was anything unusual. Misumi-kun was a natural-born playboy, after all. It wouldn't be surprising if he'd gone out with the demon girl in the past, or even if they were in a super intimate relationship now. That didn't matter to me, though. What I needed to know was whether the demon girl was my classmate or not.
タク、大地出た？
Taku, did Daichin pick up? The demon girl once again peered at my face. Shit, she was way too close. I turned my back to her and spoke into the receiver.
僕西条
It's Nishijo.
なんだタクかリミと一緒にいるのか
What? It's Taku. You with Rimi? Why had he responded so nonchalantly? Him acting so natural made it sound like me being with the demon girl was an everyday occurrence or something.
またリミに振り回されてるのか大変だなお前も
He dragging you along again? Man, you've really got it bad.
でもよ一つだけ言っていいか
But do you mind if I give you a piece of advice?
お前そろそろ自分の携帯変えよ
Go buy your own damn phone already. Was the person on the other end really Misumi-kun? For example, there was the possibility that the demon girl had made a phone call to someone who only sounded like Misumi-kun. Maybe this person who sounded like Misumi-kun was just another underling of hers, and he was only pretending to be Misumi-kun in order to trick me. I was starting to doubt anything and everything. I didn't know what was true and what was a lie. Hold on, what the hell kind of trap was the demon girl trying to make me fall into anyway? Why bother with a trap this elaborate? In a situation like this, wouldn't it be easier and quicker for her to just go ahead and kill me already? Or was there some reason behind it? Some kind of prerequisite saying she had to trick me, even if it meant taking it this slow? No, maybe it was some hidden camera type thing spearheaded by Misumi-kun. The girl wasn't actually my classmate, but Misumi-kun's girlfriend, and he'd sent her here in order to screw with me. As fucking if. If that were the case, how the hell would I explain everything that had happened at the crucifixion crime scene?
でタクなんか用か
So, what's up, Taku?
俺としては野郎からの電話なんてあんま嬉しくねえんだけどな
No, to be honest, I can't say I'm all that happy about getting a call from a dude. His tone of voice sounded exactly like Misumi-kun's. The more I heard, the more convinced I was that the person on the other end had to be him.
女の口説き方でも教えてもらいたいのか
You looking for advice on how to seduce chicks or something?
なわけねえか
As if you'd ever call me up for that. Should I start talking? Sensed a gaze on my back. The girl was staring at me. The chills on the back of my neck still hadn't gone away. What kind of expression was the demon girl making? I wanted to turn around and see for myself, but I was too scared.
で何なんだ今俺も女と一緒なんだよなるべく手短に頼むわ
Okay, seriously, what is it? I'm with a girl right now, so make it quick.
その
なんだよ早く言えって
What? Hurry up and spit it out.
うちの
Our
クラス
class?
ああ、うちのクラスがどうした？
Yeah? What about our class?
いる
In it?
何が？
What's in it?
女子
Girl?
あ？
Who?
先畑って名前の
Sakihata is her name. Despite steadily becoming more and more incoherent, I somehow managed to explain myself. Suddenly, Mizumi couldn't stop responding. Silence. However, I could still hear the noise of the city around him, so the call hadn't disconnected or anything. Why wasn't he talking? Next thing I heard was an extremely exaggerated sigh.
お前さ、ゲーム脳じゃねえの？
Look, you sure you haven't got gamer brain or whatever?
ちょ
What? Well, where'd that come from? And not only was it completely out of left field, but he'd brought up that bullshit condition that had been coined despite having no scientific backing whatsoever.
それってリミのことだろ？
You're talking about Rimi, right?
リミの携帯でかけてきてるくせに、何バカなこと言ってんだお前。
You're calling right out from her phone, so I don't understand where all this dumbass shit's coming from.
わかった。お前もしかしてリミに何か指図されてんだろ？いたずらか？ドッキリか？
Oh, I get it now. Rimi put you up to this, didn't she? This is a prank? You two trying to pull one over on me?
じゃあリミに伝えといてくれ。お前の低レベルのドッキリに引っかかるほど俺はバカじゃねえってな。
Alright then, give Rimi a message from me. Tell her I'm not stupid enough to fall for your garbage pranks.
本当
Is she really?
あ？何が？
Huh? Is she really what?
本当にクラスメイト
Is she really our classmate?
お前な。
Dude.
たまにしか学校来ねえから忘れちまったか？
Look, I get that you barely come to school, but did you seriously forget? Are you really that far gone?
俺はともかく。お前は1年の時から同じクラスだろ？
Forget me, you've been in the same class with her since the first year of high school, if I remember right.
この前だって3人で一緒に映画見に行ったじゃねえか。
I mean, come on, the three of us saw a movie together pretty recently. I couldn't comprehend what the person that sounded like Misumi-kun was saying. He'd said that the demon girl and I had been in the same class since first year. And that the three of us had seen a movie together pretty recently. Pretty recently? But when exactly?
俺がお前とダチになったのだって最初はリミに付き合わされたのがきっかけだったしな。
We wouldn't have become pals if it weren't for Rimi. I was hanging out with her when we met.
俺と同じでリミも物好きだからよ。
After all, she and I mesh real well together. You know, with how whimsical we both are.
ニートのお前を気にかけてやってるのは世界広しといえど俺とリミぐらいだぜ。
This world's pretty huge, but even then, Rimi and I are just about the only ones who'd bother talking to a NEET like you.
あ、それは言い過ぎか。
Oops, that might have been a bit harsh. The words I heard on the other end of the call, not a single one of them felt real to me. I had absolutely no memory of any of it. Couldn't acknowledge that any of it had happened in the past. I just couldn't. It was all some story that the person who sounded like Misumi-kun had made up. It couldn't be my past. The past could only be established as truth if a person remembered it. So if I didn't remember it, it wasn't true.
っていうかリミってマジで女っ気ないよな。おっと、これはあいつには言うなよ。
Well, while we're at it, I've been meaning to say that Rimi doesn't really act like much of a girl at all, does she? Kinda throws me off. But, don't tell her I said that.
君は誰だ
Who are you?
おいおい、マジでおかしくなったか？俺のことまで忘れたわけか？ゲームやりすぎ。
Whoa, 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 whoa. Have you seriously lost it? If you've forgotten me too, then you really have been playing too many games. Unable to take it anymore, I hung up the phone. My breathing had grown extremely heavy without me noticing. The sweat that had been beading on my forehead showed no signs of stopping. In fact, it was increasing. Long trails of sweat trickled down my entire body, starting from my face and ending at my feet.
タク、汗びっしょりだよ。
Taku, you're covered in sweat. The demon girl, looking worried about me, calmly offered me a handkerchief. A cute, patternless vermilion handkerchief. There was a faint floral scent to it. Instead of taking it, I attempted to somehow maintain my composure and organize my thoughts about everything that was happening, but in the end, it didn't go too well. I was doubting anything and everything, causing all my thoughts to rapidly churn together into a chaotic whirlpool. Sighing in minor disappointment, the demon girl put away her handkerchief, and then, with a triumphant look on her face, she asked me a question.
で、大臣はなんて？
So, what'd Daijin say? She was acting like she already knew the answer. I couldn't afford to answer. What was she? An ordinary classmate of mine? Or a monster? I had no idea. Maybe I was the crazy one. Taking the chat with Shogun into consideration, I couldn't rule out the possibility that someone other than myself was controlling my body. Or maybe all my memories of the demon girl, the girl named Saki Hatarimi, had somehow gotten knocked right out of me due to some freak accident or something. At this point, I didn't know anything about myself for sure. Did I have amnesia? Did I sleepwalk? Or could it be something else entirely?
大丈夫？
Are you okay?
体、辛いならソファーで横になる？
If you're not feeling good, you could try lying down on the sofa. The demon girl spoke to me kindly. Don't let your guard down. Anyone who acts nice to an otaku freak like me must have some kind of ulterior motive. I shook my head, putting my strong will to resist against the demon girl on full display. Then, using that same strength, I raised my head. Sweat got in my eyes, blurring my vision. The demon girl's face was a lot closer than I'd expected it to be. What color eyes were those?
なんで
Why?
なになに？
Hmm? Why what?
ここにいる
Are you here?
なんでって、タクに会いに来たんだよ。
Why? Because I came to see you, duh.
もしかして、勝手に部屋に入ったこと、怒ってる？
Are you mad that I came in without asking?
でもそれは、タクがちっとも返事してくれないから悪いんだよ。
And again, that's totally your fault for not answering.
結構長い時間、ノックしてたんだから。
I was talking for a really long time, you know. I thrusted the cell phone she'd given me back at her. As I watched the demon girl timidly take it back, I asked her once again,
なんで
why?
ん？今度は何？
Hmm? What is it this time?
ここにいる
Are you here? What was her reason for coming here? If she'd come to kill me, she would have done it a long time ago. So why wasn't she doing anything?
ああ、ここに来た理由？ね。
Oh? You want to know why I'm here? Just a sec. The demon girl reached into her bag and pulled out a single sheet of paper.
はい、
This is why.
進路希望のプリント、持ってきてあげたの。
I brought you the worksheet asking about what you want to be when you graduate and stuff. So here, post-graduation aspirations. I found myself taking it from her without really thinking. She wasn't lying. The piece of paper did have post-graduation's aspirations written on it, along with 3 blank spaces to write your answers. Was that it? Was that really all she'd come for?
帰ってよ
Go home. I don't want anything to do with her. I don't want anything to do with any 3D girls. This is a trap. Don't listen to her. This isn't reality. This is a game, one filled with bugs. There are way too many contradictions. It doesn't hold together as a proper story.
僕に関わらないでよ
Stay away from me. If you don't intend to kill me, then please just leave. I am me. The me that isn't me may be friends with Saki Hatarimi, but that me has nothing to do with the current me. Cradling my head, I closed myself off completely. I kept trembling and trembling, envisioning that the girl known as Saki Hatarimi wasn't there anymore. Not long after, I heard the sound of the door opening, telling me that the demon girl had left. In the midst of a pitch-black room, the pale light of a PC monitor cut through the darkness. Pictured on the screen was a SciAdv screensaver from Bloodtoon, the animation. While there had been a girl by the name of Sakihata Rimi present in the container half a day prior, the only figure that remained was the container's owner, Nishijo Takumi. It was already 5 in the morning. In Takumi's daily life, he would play online games until dawn and then collapse onto the sofa once he could not keep his eyes open any longer. Even now, Takumi was asleep on the couch, twisted in a seemingly uncomfortable position. He never used his bed for sleep. He did indeed have a proper bed, but it was already occupied by manga, CDs, and other random piled-up media. He could never be bothered to tidy it up, so his bed had effectively been repurposed into his storeroom. Ever since then, he'd utilized his two-person sofa as his one and only place to sleep. A pained moan escaped from Takumi's lips. Perhaps he was having a nightmare. His entire body was perspiring, and his closed eyelids twitched and trembled. His expression was warped in agony, and he was tossing and turning so frequently he came very close to falling off the couch. Right before he did, however, his eyes suddenly and inexplicably shot open as he faced the ceiling. They were bloodshot, and his eyeballs were faintly convulsing. Still in that state, without blinking even a single time, he rose from the sofa. He slowly staggered toward the PC. Without sitting down, he moved the mouse as he stood before the desk. Screensaver disappeared and his desktop showed itself. The pale light of the monitor shone on Takumi's face, illuminating his horrifyingly vacant expression. His body swayed back and forth and his mouth hung silently ajar. Drool seeped down his chin. His current state was a textbook example of sleepwalking. The delirious boy launched the web browser, then opened @channel. His movement itself was languid and slow, but he showed no hesitation in selecting a thread from the board related to NewGen. The board listed a total of around 60 threads, and Takumi slowly opened each of them one by one. And then, with his eyes remaining glued to the monitor, he began to type. He repeated this action for each and every thread. His posts were not particularly long, only housing a few characters each, but they all composed of the exact same sentence. Shogun, whose eyes are those eyes? And with that, I suppose we'll find out if we're actually normal or not next time. But until then, class dismissed.